Eric Peterson on Williston Trending Topics News Radio Live.
Eric Peterson this time talking about real estate. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Hey, doing great today. Beautiful day out there, Tom.
Yes, it is. It's going to be. It was hot yesterday. It's hotter today, but you're never going to get me complaining about the heat.
Exactly. I love it. It's a beautiful day. Obviously, driving around has been fun. Checking out the great scenery. I was down in South Dakota for a Patriot ride over the weekend, and what a gorgeous time to be driving down there. My partner and I, Lucas Natwick, business partner that is, went down there for a cowboy event. It was absolutely incredible, and really excited to be back.
Yeah. Business brokerage. What about it?
Yeah, we've been having a lot of requests just asking us what is our businesses worth, and we're really creating a perfect storm here, much like we had in 2011, 12, and 13, as these companies are making really good money out here. And as an investor, a lot of people are wondering, where do you put your money for a safe haven to get a good above average return? Obviously, inflation has been a major problem worldwide, 8 to 10% inflation around the world. And so how can you get a better rate of return? And so a lot more of that money is now looking back to North Dakota like we saw a decade ago.
Wow, that's really good. I know that we saw several large oil companies at the job fair over the weekend, and they were looking for places to do work. And it's hard to find the shops nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not only hard to find shops, as it's a really tight market for that. Interest rates now on the local level for commercial and industrial are 8.5% in some cases. But just as hard as finding property to do your business is, it's just as hard to find employees, if not more impossible. Obviously, you had the job fair, and it's bleak out there. There's not as many people applying as there was. The rest of the economy, when this boom started 13 years ago when I came here, nobody else in the country was making money, and so they came here to change their financial lives, and that's starting to happen now. We're starting to get people off the train again, and taking a bus and showing up with everything that they have. But these companies are realizing that if they want to drill and make money, they need employees. So instead of getting those employees and having to train them, they're now, the big fish are gobbling up the medium fish who are gobbling up the smaller fish. We've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions, a lot of business brokerage, in other words, helping companies get connected to sell out. And it's very interesting. People always wonder, hey, what is my business worth? Well, nobody really knows, especially in a market like ours that is so up and down. So you need somebody that's a professional, somebody that's been doing it for years. And out of all the things I've ever done, I really like selling businesses the most. It combines my 15 years of financial advising experience, looking at the numbers, digging into the financials, trying to help clients shore those up so that they could be worth more money in the future. And then it also has a real estate component, a marketing component, and a people component. So we're now getting back to the point where outside investors and outside companies are looking again to North Dakota to find out what our business is worth, as it's one of the few safe havens in the world right now where you have high wage growth, really good incomes, and companies that are making great money.
Eric Peterson, Proof and Realty EXP, with us every Tuesday morning in the 8 o'clock block, and we're talking about business brokerages right now. I take the temperature of the community by going over to Walmart.
Yep.
And I watch the folks that are milling around at Walmart, and I'm seeing so many new faces right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So many new faces. I go by vehicles on the road when I'm going from tour to tour showing these industrial shops. There's a lot more oil field traffic, a lot less yards with equipment in there and trucks in there. And if you go look at even the drill rigs west of town where they stack these drill rigs, there's a lot less drill rigs today than there was a year ago.
What does that mean?
So that just means that they're finally finding employees to go back to work, and they're putting these things back in the field. We don't need the 200 plus drill rigs that we had previously a decade ago. These ones are a lot more efficient, obviously. They're great at drilling holes. We just need more employees to turn this thing around. So if you are a company wondering what you're worth, if you're getting tired, if you're sick of these ups and downs, if you're sick of making payroll, reach out to us. We would love to help you, tell you exactly what your company is worth through a third-party group that we have. Similar to an appraisal on a property, we have a group there that has been doing nothing but oil and gas valuations that can help you determine exactly what your company is worth today so that you can start making those exit plans. Are you going to sell to a competitor? Nobody wants to do that, but if they're willing to pay the most money, it's worth checking out. Are you going to sell to an investor, or are you going to sell to your employees, friends, other people that are involved in the business? There's a lot of different ways to create that exit strategy, but unless you lay out the plan and you do it systematically in the right way, you're never going to know when's the right time to sell.
How long does it take?
Typically in a month. Once we have all of your financials together, we send it off to this group out of Iowa. They analyze all the financials and they come back with an unbiased opinion of value. Then we can start making those decisions. But typically, buyers are going to look at 3 years of tax records. So if you take a look at 3 years ago, that was a COVID year in 2020. So your numbers may not have been great, but now you can have your 21s, you can have your 22s. You're almost through 2023, halfway through. So now we've got to get the rest of the year shored up. We got to get these books tightened up so that now you can start looking to sell later this year or into 2024.
Any reason not to sell right now?
No, I think that it's an interest rate environment. Buyers are going to typically finance a part of this. Obviously, those interest rates are higher, but I honestly don't see interest rates coming down anytime soon. So I would tell you, hedge fund managers, money managers, they are tasked and paid bonuses on how well their performance is, obviously. If you're one of those hedge fund managers, are you going to put your money into the stock market with a global recession pending? Are you going to put it into crypto? We saw what that looked like. Are you going to buy bonds that if interest rates rise, the bond values go down? And how are you going to fight inflation and get returns for your clients? They're going to look to high growth areas, and North Dakota on the national and global scale looks as good as any investment opportunity. So we're starting to get calls again from outside brokers and outside agencies. We have sold businesses before. With our network with EXP, there's 88,000 agents across the world in 27 countries. We have the connections to get you national exposure and also on a global level.
Right now, I talked this week with the mineral guy, who they normally package their minerals and then sell them, and they go to the bank for financing. But now they're financing their own packages because they don't want to waste the 7%. And that's about the best they can get, the 7%.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And the local banks are now charging 8 to 8.5% on commercial deals, 30% down, 20-year amortization schedules. And that is on owner occupied, and that 8 to 8.25. If it's an investor, they're now looking at 8.5%. It's tough to cash flow those types of properties and those investments. So people are now looking more again to those businesses. So if you're curious to know what it's worth, we could be highly confidential. We'll sign non-disclosure agreements. We'll keep everything a secret, and we will tell you what your company is worth. You're taking a look at your 401k. You're taking a look at your bank account. A lot of times it's easy to hop on the internet and find out what your home value is worth to determine your equity. When was the last time that you looked at your business valuation?
Well, most people have no idea how to do it.
Right. And it's very confusing. We can help with that. We've been there, done that. As I mentioned, we have really good connections. We work hard. We would love to help you determine for free what your business is worth, help you through that process. The only cost that you'll have is to that third-party company to run that valuation.
And of course, if it's a home or an apartment complex or whatever, you can do comparables.
Yep.
You can't do that with businesses.
No, you can as well. So yeah, it takes definitely a global approach. You got to talk to the right people. Everybody goes off of your book value or your EBITDA, and those are all things that we can certainly help you with. So if you're considering selling, if you're kicking it around, if you're trying to determine that exit plan, we would love to meet with you, sit down in our office and talk about your business further. And really, it could just be a matter of you might already know who the right buyer is going to be, but maybe they're a competitor. Maybe you guys always don't, see eye to eye. We would love to have those conversations to help you flush it out, determine what your business is worth, and help you increase the value in the future.
I think about the oil prices now as they're going up a little bit here, and they're going to go up more. There's a lot of forecasters saying that we're looking at $100 oil pretty soon. If that happens, it's all bets are off here in the Bakken. Yeah,
it's the perfect storm. Business brokerage was really a thing that started happening in 15 on into 16, and then of course the bottom fell out of oil during our last boom and created a bust. Then we started rallying in 17, 18 on into 19. Well, we all know what happened with COVID, right? It then cut our legs off again. So now looking at the positive returns and the really good book values in the last 3 years, oil prices are going up. There's not too many safe havens out there. We're finally getting some of these employees back to our market. That's going to be critical to move the needle again and start continuing to make money. But as you mentioned on the newscast, OPEC cutting production by 1 million barrels a day is huge to keep those prices down. Everybody learned their lesson last time.
What's up next week with the tea leaves?
Yeah, I really think that the housing market is hot. If you're a seller, give an agent a call. We really think that right now is the time to get your house sold for the most money. Stuff is going in multiple bid situations again. Commercial's a little bit slower in the summer months that we're in right now. We're not getting as many calls for shops as everybody's out there just making hay while the sun's shining so bright. But start thinking about getting in before winter. Now is the time. If you're a business, you're outgrowing your facility, maybe you need a new one, maybe you're sick of leasing and you want to buy it. If you're a oil field company looking to expand, now is the time to lock in these prices that have come down a little bit and start securing your financing.
All right, Eric Peterson, Proven Realty EXP, with us every Tuesday morning. Tell them how to find you.
Yeah, you can find us at www.provenrealtynd.com, or you can call me on my personal number, 701-369-3949.
Eric Peterson, Proven Realty EXP, on the news line every morning, every Tuesday morning here on Coyote Radio.